Here's my top 5 picks for 2020, and we're starting right now. Hey gang, my name is Richard. This is The First Layer, and this is the show that explores the world of 3D printing. If you're new here, welcome. And by the way, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button and the little bell so you get notified when we put up brand new videos. On today's show, we are jumping right into my top 5 picks for 2020. This is based on printers that I reviewed in 2019 and had a chance to play with. And I want to share them with you because I think these 5 printers are probably the best in their class for what they are, and they're really good entry-level printers to get you started if you're brand new to the hobby. So let's jump right in and we'll get started with number 5. All right, in our number 5 spot, we have the Anycubic Photon S. Now, I reviewed the Photon, not the Photon S. Now, let me tell you what the differences are. The outer shell really is all that's different about that machine. On the Photon, it has a metal outer shell. On the Photon S, it is injection molded plastic. One of the benefits of the Photon S is that it's much lighter, it's easier to handle, and it's easy to get started with. Now, this particular printer is a resin-based printer, so you're going to be using either Anycubic's resin or the numerous number of resins that are out there. You're also going to have to do some post-processing, not a whole lot. The nice thing about the resins for these types of machines nowadays is that they are coming in low and no odor variants. So that's something to keep in mind when you're looking for a Photon S or any type of SLA printer. Now, the SLA is a little different from the other printers on our list because it does use an LCD to project the image up through the resin and actually builds your layers that way. Now, one of the nice things about this, it doesn't have a very big build volume, but it doesn't take up a lot of desk space either. It has a USB port on the back. It's rated for 50 watts. The printer size is 230 by 200 by 400 millimeters. That's the outside dimension. Now, your build volume is a little bit smaller than that. Your print volume is 115 millimeters by 65 millimeters by 165 millimeters, or 4.5 by 2.5 by 6.1 inches, roughly, give or take. Now, one of the nice things about this printer is it's so easy to get up and running with it. The instructions are very clean and clear to understand. They've got a good reputation with Anycubic behind them. It is not a networkable printer, so you can't put it on your network, but it does use a USB stick as opposed to the little SD cards, micro SD cards, and you can get some beautiful prints out of a Photon. Down to as low as 35 microns, which you can barely see the layer lines on this large piece, and you definitely can't see it on the small pieces. So cons of the Photon S for me would be the smell of resin and the post-processing cleanup. You do need to wear gloves when you are using resins. A mask is preferable as well, not totally necessary, but I would advise a mask, especially if you are susceptible to different odors or if you have any kind of breathing problems. Don't have this around pets or kids. Put this in an office where it's not going to be in direct sunlight or in a room where it's not going to have direct sunlight, so your resin doesn't cure prematurely. And that's what most resin-based printers are like, is they have a photo resin which cures in sunlight or in ultraviolet light. So that is the only real con. Now, as far as price goes, these printers are coming in, I believe, at pricing on this machine comes in just under 400 US. One of the things about the Photon S that kind of strikes me as being sort of a con, just before we wrap up the Photon, is that plastic shell. I liked it when the Photon had the all-metal shell. It was sturdy, it was rigid. The plastic shell, the injection molding, just feels a little bit cheap to me. And I'm sure other reviews out there have said much along the same lines. But the Photon and the Photon S, as far as the way that they work, they're exactly the same. So if you're looking for a low-cost printer, sub $500, I would definitely take a look at the Photon S for your resin 3D printing needs. And the reason that it's ranking at number 5, because I have another one, which we're going to talk about later, that ranked a little bit higher. And we'll tell you why in just a little bit. In at number 4 is the CR10 Max from Creality. What did I like about this machine? Well, it has an amazing build volume at 450 by 450 by 470. The other thing I really liked about this machine is that it has a fully heated bed. Unlike their other entries into the market, like the CR10 S4 and the CR10 S5, sorry. Neither one of those have a fully heated bed. The construction on the Max is very similar to the construction on the CR10 Pro. Very robust, very stiff. It comes with its own bracing, so you don't have to add any aftermarket bracing. It has a really good extruder on it with dual gears, very much like a Bondtech in a lot of ways. So you are able to print a variety of different materials, such as flexibles, which is something that we all kind of have a problem with when we get into the market of 3D printing. We all want to print flexibles at some point in time. This printer is really good for that. Now, the other thing about this printer is that the SD card slot is right at the front, and here's the bonus. It has auto bed leveling, and the auto bed leveling is taken care of by a genuine BL Touch, which is, as you guys know, one of my favorite auto bed leveling systems out there on the market. I use it myself. I put it on many printers all the time. Now, as far as cons go, this is a big printer. If you don't have the space for it, you're going to have to make space. It can print a lot of things, but it doesn't print them very fast. So you are going to have to slow down your printing a little bit into about that 45 to 50 millimeter per second. It does have a copy of Cura on its SD card. Now, Cura is a great little program. We're going to talk more about Cura in upcoming episodes now that a brand new version is out. But steering away from that for a moment, I do want to say that this is a very big printer, and it does take a while for it to heat up. On the plus side, it does have a genuine Meanwell power supply, 450 watts in fact, so it's got more than enough power to deliver to all the parts on this machine. Now, a con for me would be the price. The price is a little steep for that type of machine. When the 400 comes in at roughly around $1,000, this one's coming in just under $1,400 US, and in Canada as well. Maybe a little bit less in the US, maybe a little over 13 in the US. I'd have to double check that for you, but you can go and check out the links below, because we're going to have links to all of these printers down in our description below. So go check them out if you're interested in one of them. Make sure you use one of our affiliate links, because that certainly helps out the show. Now, let's get on to number 3. In at number 3 is a printer that I just recently reviewed, the Lotmaxx SC-10. Really like this printer, and it would have gone higher, but there's other printers that I think just kind of edged it out. And I'll tell you why I like this printer, because first of all, it's got a great build volume. It kind of falls between a CR10 and an Ender 3, and the CR10 being that 300 by 300 build volume. This one comes in at 235 by 235 by 280 in terms of its height, so you can do some fairly big stuff on it without having to haul around a CR10. The other nice thing is it comes with a Meanwell power supply built right into the case. It's got a touch screen with many different languages and easy to understand. It'll guide you through bed leveling. It is a great little printer all around. Easy to put together. 4 screws, you're up and running in no time at all. I really take my hat off to Lotmaxx on this. This is their competition to the CR20 by Creality. Just so you guys are aware, this kind of falls between their CR20 and their CR20 Pro, but it is easy to upgrade. It does come with silent steppers on the X and the Y, So it is quite a quiet machine all in all. One of the things that I did, and this was a con for me, is I did change out the mat that comes with it. It has a polypropylene mat with a build tack like surface on top. The problem with those for me is over time they do tend to warp and they don't sit flat on the bed. And I could have gone to magnetic, but I didn't. I went with my tried and true glass, put a piece of glass on there with some glue stick. This thing is working great. Absolutely love it. Now, some of the cons, like I just said, one of them would have to be that polypropylene bed. Their Lotmaxx software, which is powered by Cura, just so you're aware, is not totally tuned to the machine. It follows more of the CR20 profile than anything else. So what you should do is copy over all of the stuff from the Lotmaxx software into the latest version of Cura. So it's kind of a pain to do it, but if you don't do it, you won't get great prints. As great as you can get out of that machine. The other thing is their hot end, which Creality suffers from this problem as well. The hot end should be upgraded. It is a fairly inexpensive, poorly designed hot end. But that goes to say the same. Our number one spot suffers from the same thing. So what's the price on it? Well, the price isn't too bad. It actually comes in on GearBest at $290 Canadian. So it's going to be less in the US. So I would go out and check out the Lotmaxx SC-10. There's a link in the description below. In at our number 2 spot is a machine I have not had the chance yet to review, but Brian is going to be reviewing this one very soon for you, and that'll be up on the channel in a few weeks, I think. This is the Elegoo Mars, very popular machine. A lot of people have done reviews on it. We just didn't get our hands on one. Brian did buy one, however. I want to tell you a little bit about this from Brian's perspective. Some of the things that he likes about it, it has a fairly generous build volume. He's been printing D&D minis on it since he's gotten it, really. Now, this machine does not ship with any resin, just so you're aware. I think there are options where you can have a bundled pack with some resin in it, depending on where you're buying it from. We'll leave a link in the description down below of some of the places we think you should buy from. It does come with a UV type lid, so this will keep the UV rays out of your vat. So if you've got it in an area where you're getting a lot of sunlight, this is definitely a positive. Here's the downside to this. There's no handle on it. So you got to use 2 hands to take it off. Generous sized resin. Now these resin vats come in 2 different types. You have a disposable version, which you can purchase, or you have the ones that you just have to change out the FEP film on. Fairly easy to change out the FEP film. Another great thing about this machine is that it has a touchscreen in the front, LCD right here. It also will go down as low in the documentation. It says down to 10 microns. I want to see that put to the test. We're going to try that out a little bit later on for you in another video. And I think overall the build quality is great. Again, it's one of those machines that you can take out of the box and be printing with very quickly. It doesn't take a lot of time. It comes with a slicer called Chi2Box, which is free to download. It is not open source, however. I might be wrong about that. If it is, somebody will correct me in the comments down below. But Chi2Box, as a drawback, is that it doesn't handle supports quite as well as maybe some of the other resin printers out on the market. The other thing about this is that it does not have any type of ventilation for the fumes that are building up under the lid. So there's no way it's pulling out the bad air and throwing it out through a fan. Speaking of fans, the fan is always on this machine, from what Brian tells me, but it is very easy to level the bed. There's a plus side. Now, the USB is in the back. I have a printer at home that has the same problem. The USB stick plugs into the back right above the on-off switch. Some people have modified it to put it on the front of the machine. Others haven't. There are a variety of people out there that have built a community around this machine. So there's all kinds of upgrades that you can 3D print for yourself and put onto this machine and really make it a workhorse in your SLA printing. Resin, you can use any type of resin in it, as far as I know. Again, Elegoo has their own brand of resin. They have different types of resin, so you might want to check those out. I believe that they also have a odorless resin that you can purchase, and we'll try and find you a link and put that in the description below as well. So one of the nice things about this is that the parts availability for this machine are outstanding. And I'll tell you why they're outstanding is because they're inexpensive. If something should go wrong on the machine, you can get parts very easily and very inexpensively, either from Amazon or right from Elegoo Direct. I'm sure that they've got different sites over on AliExpress and GearBest and all of the manufacturing websites that are out there that handle large bulk orders. But as far as I know, the LCD screen to replace on this is right around $25 to $30 on Amazon. That's Canadian, so it'll be lower for the States. One of the drawbacks to this is that some people have complained that the parts don't last. And if that's the case with yours, again, you can get quality replacements and part manufacturer replacements pretty easy. Beauty of this machine is, and why it ranked higher than our other SLA printer on the market, is because this one comes in at $370 US. That's not bad. I could take that. I would like that. $370 US? I'll take 6, please. Will somebody send me 6? No, probably not. So let's get on. Before we get on to our number 1, we're going to give you some honorable mentions. Starting off our honorable mentions, we're going to throw an honorable mention to the TiVo Tarantula Pro, which is a great little machine, easy to put together, has a generous build volume of 235 by 235 by 250, and very easy to assemble and get up and running with right away. Also, we want to enter into that the Ender 5 Plus, which is a little bit bigger build volume than the Ender 5, a nice square box of a printer. It is not a Core XY, but can be converted to a Core XY with not too much trouble. And it comes with all of the bells and whistles that you would expect from Creality. And finally, the Wanhao Duplicator 7 Plus. This is a machine that I personally own, an SLA printer, and it is a great little printer for everything that I do for resin casting and resin printing. And coming in at number 1, which is no surprise for anybody that watches our program, is the Creality Ender 3 Pro, my favorite printer of the year. Why? Because it's low cost, easy to assemble, and just gets working right away. Very little do you have to do to this printer to get it up and running. Now, one of the nice things about it is the build volume at 220 by 220 by 250, which is a little smaller than some of the other ones on our list today. But with what they've done to the Ender 3 Pro, they've changed out the power supply from the old power supplies that they were using. Now they're using genuine Meanwells, which is a big benefit. Secondly, they've beefed up that center rail, so it is now a 40 by 40 center rail, so that your wheels are a little wider apart and you get a little bit more stability out of the bed. Very easy to bed level this machine. What else did they do? They flipped the board and made it easier for you to access the SD card. Those are some of the major changes that they did in the design to make this a Pro. However, at the end of the day, it is an Ender 3. So was it worth the upgrade of $20 to $50 depending on where you're buying? I would say yes, because this machine, like I said, it's packed in a nice small box. Everything that you need to get up and running with it is right there. It even gives you about 200 grams of filament to get you started. And getting filament you can get anywhere. We're going to put the Ender 3 down on our list below so you can go ahead and find it on one of our affiliate links and help out the show if you're interested in getting one. And by the way, I use mine every day. And I hope that you're going to use yours as well if you choose to go with the Ender 3. So there's my list for 2020 of the top 5 printers. Now, out of our list, what do you prefer? FDM or resin? Let us know by putting your answer in the comments down below with hashtag whichever one you're looking at, the FDM or resin. Hey, if none of these fit the bill, go ahead and drop us another comment and let us know what you're looking at. Maybe we can help you with your buying decision. We like to help you guys each and every week and make sure that you do come back because we've got a lot more great stuff coming your way. I'm fighting a cold, so I'm going to get out of here right away. And I want to thank Brian, who's in the house today. There he is. And we are taking a look at some of these videos that are popping up right here. This top video is what YouTube recommends to you, thinks that you might find interesting. And the one down below is the one that we thought you might find interesting. If you're looking at some of these printers, you can go back and check out some of our reviews from the past year. And we are going to see you next time right here on The First Layer. Remember that the first layer is always your foundation to a great print. Good night, everybody.